I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and so usually it's not difficult for me to recognize when someone else is smarter than me. I've been in plenty of places where I was talking to someone and I knew that I wasn't nearly as intelligent as they were. But even though it can be easy for me to acknowledge that someone else is smarter than me, there's still someone in my life that I've often acted like I were much smarter than. And this is only something that shows how stupid I can be, and that's God. I sometimes think and talk and act like I'm smarter than God. And the truth is, so do you. Pride is a seriously ugly thing. And one of the ways pride shows up in our lives, just to, kind of put it on the bottom shelf, we often think, feel, and talk like we're smarter than God. You say, how? Well, really, anytime we don't listen to God's word, we're acting like we know better than God. God talks on a subject and we're kind of bored by what he says, we're acting like we're smarter than God. Worse, God talks on a subject and we reject what he says, we're acting like we're smarter than God. We get to stand in judgment on God when the reality is God stands in judgment on us. He's created this world. He has a mind that knows all things. His wisdom is literally way, way, way above the wisdom of anyone that you've ever met. There's no one who compares to him, and yet we sometimes think we can reject what God says as if we were somehow smarter than the creator of the universe. Anytime we complain, we're acting like we're smarter than God. Anytime we argue with God, and I don't mean we ask questions, that's kind of normal, but anytime we stand up and we sort of point our finger at God and say, what are you doing? Well, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? You really think that you can stand in the throne room of the king and tell him how to run his universe? I don't think so. Humility is a deep down recognition, conviction that I'm not God. There's only one God, and he is smarter than me. And so while there's times I don't understand what he's saying, I believe, I submit, I give thanks, and I obey. How about you? You say, I know I'm not that smart. Well, okay. But do you think you're smarter than God? You're not, and neither am I. But let's rejoice, because we have the all-wise God who's spoken to us, and we can understand what he says. And when we understand what he says, let's make sure we don't argue, we don't get angry. We humbly obey.